change a whole lot.
That's right.
Between the different price homes. It's just maybe a different mentality and confidence going into sale. It's possible. But when it comes to us, yeah, we're grinders. We just get a whole lot of sales put together.
Yeah, good. All right, listen, I just want to get that on the table so everybody knows where we stand here. And I don't want you intimidated by this. Like these guys just said, hey, look, they have to sell a lot of homes to make the math work. Some of you can sell less homes and make the same money. So let's just get that on the table. But these guys have done a great job at pursuing the buyer internet leads like a lot of people have. By the way, if you're just joining me online, I had to reset the online. It is the TRC sales training 10/27/17. All right. So Tommy, the other day, let's just get back into the context. We were talking about expireds and we were trying to go through a scripting. And so you had some challenges. Yeah. Bring them back to me because then I want to get into that role play where I told you you could beat on me and I would deal with those objections. So tell me a little bit more about what your thoughts were when you started doing that stuff.
All right. Well, so I've been doing, a little more background. I've been doing a lot more calling for sale by owners and expired.
Yep.
And using a lot of the Mike Ferry scripts to do it.
Okay.
And basically, I've just been doing this purely because we do work with a lot of buyers here, and we have a ton of numbers because we're getting we're averaging about 75, 80 buyer leads a week.
Yep.
So it's a lot. So we're round robining them, we're segmenting those up, and now, we work with a lot of buyers. We know how to work with buyers. But in the market that we're in, there's a split difference where you're getting about a 4% split if you have the listing and a 2% split if you're working with the buyer.
Which is huge. Let that sink in, everybody. We've talked about this thousands of times. When it comes to this business and knowing how it works, you have to know that you're pursuing profit. Now, here's a marketplace where people are getting listings, and because it's a low average commission, that's why I set this up correctly, so you understand why I teach what I teach when I hear what I hear. He just said something that should make your jaw drop. The people that are controlling the listings, or the agents or the brokerages that are controlling the listings in this part of Wisconsin, where the average sale is 120, are cheating their fee higher to what they're offering to the co-broke. I don't like that myself. I don't think that's good business. I think that smacks of somebody trying to dominate, and it agitates me, which makes me can't wait to help anybody on the other side of that transaction to beat that person to the listing. Okay. I just don't like it. So to me, I love the MLS, and what it stands for is sharing, and sharing equally. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have a complicated marketing system, you can't goose your side a little bit higher, because look, if you are spending money on drones and photography and editing, it is expensive. So let me hedge it a little bit by saying that. If it's just for the sake of doing it and you're doing what everybody else does, I don't like it. So he's saying they need listings. He's saying they're really good at buyers. But the problem with the buyer side, and I don't know if you guys experience this, is are the buyers getting more difficult to convert when they start online? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Why are you finding that to be more difficult?
Because the buyer leads that we're getting that are coming through like Zillow or just starting online and searching, whatever it is, whatever site they prefer, they don't have loyalty to a company. They're going, there's a button right on your phone that says click to see the house.
Yeah.
So they're just getting, a hodgepodge of different realtors, and, you'll meet with one of these guys and they'll say, hey, I'm going to see this with you, but I got an appointment at, 2:30 to see another one with another guy.
Yeah.
So they just think that they can, press this button and just go and see all these houses and no loyalty to an agent.
Cool.
So they are tougher to convert.
All right. So enough. We're all set up. Now we know why we have to do listings, right? It's money, it's control, it's perception, and the buyer internet lead things, getting tougher. Not that you guys aren't maintaining the pace there and doing really well, but there's a reason that we have to be in this discussion. It's really heavy and important for everybody, but especially these guys. Okay, so Tommy, now let's go back to the expireds. You referenced, and again, I got to be careful what I say about other coaching companies here, because I appreciate anybody who endeavors to try to help other people. I'll leave it at that. Philosophically, I don't agree with that, Doug Converse brought me a script, and I won't say what company it's from because it doesn't matter. I just didn't like what I was hearing in the script. What I found was that it was, I don't know, self-indulgent. So here's what I'm going to ask you, Tommy. Give me a little bit of an idea of what the script is that you were using. Let's start there again. And remember, if you're just coming in late, I need you to *6 your mics. I got a couple hot mics. If you're moving around, I would like to leave the mics open and let you control them. But if I hear you squeaking around in the background, *6 or mute the mic right now because I got somebody in New Jersey that's got a loud mic. Just *6 or hit mute on your phone. I don't care, either or I got to put you there. All right, go ahead, Tommy. Tell me what you're saying to somebody when they pick up the phone. Expireds, go ahead.
All right, so you pick up the phone.
Hello.
Hey, I'm looking for Danny.
Speaking.
Hi, Danny. My name is Tom O'Connor with O'Connor Realty Group. I'm sure you figured that out that your home came up on my computer as an expired listing. I was calling to see when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home.
Okay, stop. The first two things, like in the first line, I didn't like the other day when I talked, and I'm going to bring them back up. The thing that I don't like about that is I'm sure you figured out that your house expired on the multiple listing. Maybe not. Maybe so, maybe not. Why would you assume that that's something that would open up a conversation? So when you read that, forget about what you're reading. Why would you feel like that was an appropriate thing to say yourself? You tell me.
Well, I think whether they know it or not, if they don't know it, it obviously shows that their agent isn't really reaching out to them. So it lets them know that it has expired. Mm-hmm. And it's really not bad if they don't know. It actually, by catching them off guard, I think it opens them up to a better conversation.
Okay, why don't you just stay?
And if they don't know about it, you're the first one to call them as an expired. So that's always good too.
Okay, so the first alternative is, why don't you just say that? Right? Why does it feel like you're coming in some kind of a slippery side door with the conversation? Why don't you just tell them what you want? Right? That's the first challenge I'll throw at you. And by the way, if I'm not role-playing with him, feel free for any of you to jump in, and anybody who's used a similar script, come in at me. Because the first thing I get from a lot of people that use a script is, well, it works. No, you work. There's no doubt about it. You guys work. Anybody who gets a script in front of them and gets a list of phone calls, you're working, and I applaud you, because I'm telling you that most people won't even go that far. So don't give the script more credit than it deserves. Give yourself credit for doing the work, because most of you, what's happening in the second beat of where I'll go with Tommy today is that you're being flexible with that person, you're solving something, and you're getting into relationship with them. I'll make that argument for all of you that do the work, right? So don't give a script too much credit. It is a great thing to have when it's effective, but you should always challenge, why am I saying what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you a couple alternatives. Why wouldn't you just say, hey, Tommy, it's Danny Griffin. I don't know if you know this or not, but your house just expired in MLS. If you want to be that guy that says what you just said back to me, why not just state it? I don't know if you know or not. Because that's what you said. If they know, well, then great, right? Here I am. If they don't know, well, then great. I'm the deliverer of the bad news. It just expired, right? So why not just state it? Why does it feel so? It feels to me, underhanded is the wrong word, Tommy, but it seems less than optimal to me, right? So just consider that beat number one. Number two, when are you going to hire the right, or what is it about the right agent?
When you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home.
Okay, so in other words, you're a fool. You interviewed the wrong guy and hired the wrong guy. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm just telling you that guy obviously didn't sell it. That's why it's expired.
Yeah, but you're telling me that I didn't hire the right guy. Is that right?
Well, is your house sold, Danny?
Yeah, you telling me I didn't hire the right guy. Is that right? Because you don't know my motivation.
Yeah, right.
You don't know my motivation yet. My motivation was I cheated a little bit to the high side. And by the way, the guy that you just insulted besides me, that's my brother. And I told him to put it on. I don't know where this could go, Tommy, but why are you starting a fight?
That's all right, though.
Yeah.
Danny, you're not insulting this person. You're getting in the door.
I disagree.
I
I completely
you're
disagree.
Posing them with questions.
Yeah.
You're posing them with questions that I don't think. I mean, from doing this for a while now. I mean, I'm not the best at this by any means, but
Yeah.
I've been doing it now for a few weeks and consistently. And these people are not going to want to talk to you just because you're a real estate agent calling on the phone. I mean, in general.
Tommy,
Especially
stop.
for
Tommy,
sales
stop.
buyers.
Tommy,
I mean,
stop.
they're-
Tommy,
they're
stop.
already
Tommy,
like, well,
Tommy,
I mean, you're calling
Tommy,
somebody that doesn't want to
Tommy,
listen to an agent
Tommy,
in the first place. So,
Tommy,
they're not
stop.
gonna want to hear from
Tommy.
you, but you gotta break through.
Stop him, Joe.
You gotta break
Tackle
through.
him. Tackle him. Joe, tackle him. Stop him. Put him in a headlock. Put him in a headlock. Put him in a headlock. Stop him. Right? Tommy, stop selling yourself. Right? Stop selling yourself and listen. Okay? Here's the deal. Don't argue with me. Consider an alternative. I'm not telling you you're right or wrong. How about that? Because you just got really down this defensive line and you sold yourself rather than considering alternatives, which is what we did the other day. I'm saying consider the alternative, right? Consider the alternative.
Right.
You insulted the guy. I don't care what anybody says. They can argue with me. Now, it can work. Let me say that. If you insult somebody, when are you going to hire the right agent? That can work because what you're doing is agitating a conversation. So what I will agree with you on is that if you agitate a conversation and they're talking to you, I'll take it. I don't disagree with that part of this, Tommy. So hear me say that. Agitate somebody and they get into a conversation, that has all to do with that agitation of pain. But I'm asking you a question that you're not answering. Why is that your best alternative?
Why is that the best alternative?
Your best alternative. Why is it? Because I don't think it's the best alternative. I'm asking why it's your best alternative. Why?
Well, for now, I mean, I'm really just kind of following, one plan and seeing, giving it some time to see if it works.
Buddy, come on, bud. Joe.
You don't know what you don't know.
Tommy.
I mean, you can
Tommy.
go have a conversation. I'd try it your way too.
Tommy, it's not my way. Tommy, stop.
I go
Stop.
your way too.
Joe, stop him. Tommy, you're not listening still. Let me try again. It's not about my plan, his plan, their plan. I'm asking you to answer a question, okay? Listen to me. I'm asking you, the human being, why is that your best alternative? Here we are today after 2 weeks challenging it, asking you how it's working. You're saying you're having some conversations, right? And you're following one plan. Great. Most people that go after FSBOs and expireds fall into that same script because that company focuses on that verbiage. I get it. Okay? I accept it. My mentor, who you know personally, was that guy first and then tweaked the scripting to fit what his needs were at the time. Why? Because he, before you, before me, and trained by the same guy that you're following his plan, considered the alternative. That's what I'm asking you to do. You're closing me down too fast. That's why I keep stopping and interrupting you, which I hate to do. You're not wrong, okay? You hear me say that? You're not wrong. That plan's not wrong. I'm asking you as a human being, if you're going to have a conversation with me that doesn't have a script about expired listing and what you can do better. Okay, buddy, I'll bite. You're the right agent. Tell me why. Tell me why you're the right agent.
Tell you why I'm the right agent?
Yeah, you just said I write the wrong guy.
All right. So, there's two approaches to selling a home, Danny. An agent can put it on the MLS, can run some ads, you can do some houses and basically wait for it to sell, which is what most agents do. Or you can hire an agent that will go out and find a buyer for your home, which is what I do. And that's what you'd expect from an agent like myself to do for you, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not so sure I know how the business works. So you're telling me that, how many listings do you carry right now?
I have about 23.
Okay. 23 listings sounds like a lot of listings to me, Tommy. How are you going to give me that individual attention that you're actually going to go out and find a buyer for my house?
Well, Danny, that's a great question. What's a great time for me to sit down with you and show you how you can do that?
Nope. Now is the right time on the phone. And nobody's coming to my house. I've already been on the market. I expired. Nobody's coming here. I'm asking you to answer the question right now.
You want me to answer this question right now over the phone?
I'm on the phone with you, and you called me and interrupted my life, and you tell me I hired the wrong guy. You tell me you're the right guy, and that you're going to be somehow, you're going to go find the buyer instead of just throwing it on MLS. And you got 23 listings. I want to know how you're going to get around that.
Well, Danny, what we do is we use a 7-step strategy, and it's a proven strategy. We have 230 closed sales this year, and I could show you how we could do that same strategy for your house.
Okay.
Why don't we sit down and we can talk about it?
Okay, we're talking now, and I want to keep talking. So my question to you now is, if you've got these people coming, you've sold a lot of homes. Great. Sounds like you have a really good resume. How many of those homes did you sell by finding the buyer like you just suggested you would?
Well, quite a few. I'd say the majority are double-ended deals, and outside of that, we always do sub-brokerages, so we make sure that we get it out to the brokers around the area so that you have the most exposure. Is that something that your last agent did?
Tommy, my last agent put it on the MLS, and we had a bunch of showings from co-brokes, had a couple offers, and we couldn't get home on the deal. So I guess my question to you is, you've basically told me that you're going to throw it on the MLS and you do some co-brokes. I asked a question that you really couldn't answer for me. My question was, how many deals did you sell by going out and getting the buyer? Because you told me that was the difference between you and them, unless I misunderstood you.
Mm-hmm. Well, Danny, here's the thing. According to our statistics here and what we've done, this year I sold 35 homes by bringing the buyer in, and that's out of my single-handedly my 52 homes that I sold this year.
Okay, so you personally double-ended 35 of your own deals? That's impressive. Would you send me a link to those properties?
You know what? I can do you one better. I could actually bring it over. When's the best time for me to meet you?
Yeah, I appreciate you pushing for the appointment, but I'm not ready because I'm very skeptical after my first round of working with an agent. All right, let's stop for a second. So, Joe, you're sitting there with him, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to switch players, all right? So here we go again. You're going to call me with the same thing because you, Jerry, and Tommy are all doing the same thing, so I want to hear the alternative. Tommy, I'm going to come back to it. Hold that thought. You know where I was going with it, right? I'm really going to paint you guys into a corner to make sure you can back up what you're going to say, right? So that you're comfortable that there's something to lead me towards, right? Which is an appointment. So, Joe, go ahead. Hello.
Okay. I'm a little rusty at this since I just got done with my wedding.
Joe, I'm going to let you. Joe, hold on. Joe, hold on. I don't care how rusty or not because I'm going to let you off the hook. You don't have to be scripted. You don't listen. You don't have to be scripted. I was trying to get Tommy to be more in a conversation with me. He wouldn't bite at first, and it sounded really robotic to me. Tommy, that's a little teaser for me to come back to you, right? And guys, I know I'm being hard on you because you guys are really good, and you need to be really better at this. So let me just say that you guys know I love you, but I'm not going to let you off the hook today. So I'm going to give you permission to go conversation.
Just right off the cuff?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I want you to try to just get into a dialogue with me about the expireds. So I want you to go intuitively.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Ring.
Hello?
Hi, this is Danny.
Danny speaking.
Hey, Danny, this is Joe O'Connor calling from O'Connor Realty Group. And I noticed that your house is expired, and I was just wondering if you are looking for the right agent for the job of selling your house.
I don't know. It's my brother selling it.
Well, your brother is, okay. What did he use for strategies to sell your house?
I put it on the MLS, did some open houses.
MLS, open house, okay. What do you, were you satisfied with what he did for you in the first round of listing your home?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we cheated up a little to the high side. I mean, I don't know whether his marketing was as cutting edge as it could be, but he worked it. We got a couple offers. They just weren't there yet.
Okay, what do you expect out of the next agent? If you would relist that would list your house, what would you expect out of them?
Oh, I don't know. I might just drop the price and give it back to him.
got the price to give it back to him. Okay. How would you like me to come over to your house and show you some of the strategies I can do to sell your home?
I don't know. Why would I do that?
I would do that because I can put it right in front of you and show you exactly what. And I don't have them right now in front of me, but I could show you the exact numbers of what we've sold and how we've sold them, and our marketing. I have a marketing package that I can bring to you, and it will show everything that we do from top to bottom, from the listing to the closing that we do to help you out. And it's a very seamless process, and we'd love to help you out the way we can.
All right, boys, look, good. All right, stop. Yeah, stop. Okay, good. So It feels like I don't know you two, and I know you two really well, right? It feels like I don't know you. Again, I know it's a role play, so but I really feel lost getting to know you. I'm losing some kind of feeling of familiarity. If you ever listen to Proctor do his scripts or other people like Paul Cantu, what you hear is an outcome that's very clear that they're trying to get to, but you hear an incredible smooth performance. Because why? I think they believe in what they're saying. Tommy, I didn't believe that you fully believed in what you were saying. What I was trying to provoke you was to get away from this guy's plan or that guy's plan. I'm not trying to be right here. I'm looking always for a better way to do something, always. And I define.
What is Cantu using for? Is he using a script?
I don't know. Let's leave that for a second. He knows an outcome that he wants. So, I mean, if Paul's on, I'll let him role play with you. I don't know that he is or Patrick's there. But
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Is Paul around?
And, Joe, I by the way, congrats on the wedding, man.
Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah, congrats. That's right.
Thank you.
What Paul does when he's calling expires is he really quickly lays his whole, exactly what he's offering and his track record, and he puts it all out there quickly and concisely enough that the person really doesn't have an opportunity to say no to anything or, really get a word in edgewise. And so, it's, hi, this is Paul Cantu with Cantu Real Estate. I'm calling because I noticed your home expired on the Northwest MLS. What I'd like to offer you is I'd like to come over and give you a more comprehensive assessment of your home's current market value. I can also give some helpful tips on things you can do around your house to make sure your home sells for the highest price possible, and I can also give you a net proceeds analysis to show you exactly what your home would sell for, to show you exactly what you'd walk away with after all expenses associated with the sale. It's completely free, and there's no obligation to sell. A little bit about myself. I've been selling homes in the Seattle area for over 17 years. I'm in the top 2% of real estate agents in North America. And in the last couple of years, my homes have sold on an average of just 7 days, and for an average of 108% of the asking price. I'm incredibly good at what I do. Do you have 15 or 20 minutes to meet with me at your home to go over all these materials?
All right, stop.
And so he really just blasts through it, hits him right in the
all right,
face.
hold on.
He blasts statistics also, huh?
Yeah, hold on.
Statistics and offers, yeah.
Okay, guys, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. That's a lot to say unless you make as many calls as Paul Cantu makes. Right? So Paul makes nothing but inside sales calls every week, a lot of the time, right? That's what he does. So he can get the whole, if you saw that as a sales letter written out, it has the standard beats, okay? I'm calling because, right, is the first thing that comes out of his mouth. So Tommy, you see what I'm saying? I want you to consider the alternative. That's one alternative. So as you think about what Patrick just went through and the beats, let's chunk out the beats. Hey, Tommy, it's Danny Griffin calling because I saw that your listing expired in the MLS, and I wanted to give you a 7-point strategy that explains the whole process and maybe what went wrong. Unless, of course, you took it off the market intentionally. That's a third alternative for an intro. Paul's is to not take a break or a breath and to roll through the whole thing. Okay? Yours is to disturb the peace, which is also effective. Mine is to make sure that at least I get the law of reciprocity across so I can buy a little bit more time. My only goal for us and David and most agents on this call is they're not going to be able to rattle off a resume like Paul Cantu's or the O'Connors. And I wouldn't rush it. If you listen to Paul's tone, it's unbelievably smooth as he goes through that. He has this sort of intoxicating, quiet voice that reels you in. So it's a very unique skill set to be able to get that much out and not lose somebody. Because otherwise it hears like sold. It's a lot to say. So for most people, to break it down, especially in a sales training context, is to say, okay, that's what a savant sounds like on the phone, rattling that much off. The first thing is, why are you calling me? And Tommy, in your case and in that script, you're calling them because you want to just affirm that they know their listing came off. So that's a different way of saying exactly what Paul and I say in the same beat. Hey, it's Danny Griffin calling because your listing expired, and I want to let you know we sent you our free course, our 7-point strategy to help you figure out what went wrong, unless, of course, you took it off the market, right? Pause. So I'm trying to figure out why did they really come off? Because in my experience, Tommy, having done this over 2 years now, is that a lot of the houses that I get into because of the direct sales letter and the phone calls that we make, a lot of these people were simply not properly motivated to sell. And they probably jerked the agent around on price or whatever the case is. A lot of them are also high D personalities that clearly had all the answers and didn't listen to their agent. So that's why I'm saying, why are we saying to them, when are you going to hire the right agent when there might be other alternatives, right? Why risk insulting them if there's other things that can disturb their peace, which is where you got in the second part of the conversation. I have a 7-point strategy that's bulletproof, and it's going to show you whether you or your agent were off. Want to be aggressive like that? Go ahead. But give them context first as to what it is. Hey, I'm calling you because is a trigger word, by the way. So I'm calling you because, right? I just sent this thing to you that's contextually helpful. So I'm giving you a gift. 2 of the most powerful triggers in this world are the word because. Read Robert Cialdini's book Influence. And the second one is a gift. Dan Kennedy's been giving away free gifts and information and taught Craig Proctor that, and I learned it from him, and he learned it from, great marketers before him. We're just not going to be able to deny that those things work. Now, you argued with me on the law of reciprocity because your answer was, well, not everybody reacts to that. You're right, but it still sets me up for a second beat in the conversation. I don't frankly care whether they indulge in the gift or not in this moment. In this moment, I'm using the delivery or the send out of the gift because I want to buy a little bit more time on the phone and I want to pattern interrupt. Now, pattern interrupts can come in one of 2 ways. Your way, which is, when are you going to hire the right agent? Mine is, I sent you a free gift that will show you what went wrong. They're both agitations of the pain. All I'm saying, Tommy, is they're alternatives. You following that?
Yep.
That's all I wanted to suggest.
And I get that.
Yep. And that's all I want to suggest you go forward trying. Try alternatives until you find a wheelhouse, because they all work, right? Remember what we're doing. We are calling somebody and we are interrupting their lives. So the theories and the patterns of thought out there from coaching and training is a variety of things, right? You have those people at one extreme that tend to go right at the pain and agitate it. So you've already referenced one person whose script you're reading does that. They go right at it. They're like, look, don't waste time with people. This is a transactional business. That's their belief system. And you're only going to survive if you cut through all the noise right there while you have them on the phone, agitate the conversation. Now, the best people that are trained to that also know that after they've agitated the pain, they know how to bring it back to a place where they can get what they want, which is the appointment. So you're right, but you're walking on a very thin line there. I prefer to try to buy a little bit more time in the conversation by saying, because, right? I'm interrupting your life because it's this. And I might even throw in, well, I've got 35 people that already called me. Yep, but I'm sure nobody called you to simply tell you that they were sending you a free gift to help you figure out what went wrong. I'm sure of that. So see, now I can get edgier, Tommy, right? If I need to get edgier, then I elevate it. But I elevate it around something that's good for them, because what most of them need is a punch in the side of the head, proverbially, he said, right? Not literally, They need a punch in the head to say, look, you did get something wrong. So, Tommy, that's where I was saying stop, because I wasn't disagreeing. You're right. They did something wrong personally by either choosing somebody who didn't lead them properly, had no plan, or they didn't listen to the person. It could be a lot of reasons why this person is expired, but certainly the buck stops with them. They did something wrong, and that could be, you're right, choosing that person. All I was saying is consider the alternative that says, I'm going to send you out something that shows you the right strategy. Now, does that subtly insinuate maybe they didn't make the best choice? Sure. And all it is an alternative. Got me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely an alternative.
Okay. But you got lost also. Both you and Joe got lost. Whereas when Patrick rattled off what Paul says, he wasn't lost at all, was he?
Well, I never correct. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, and I think honestly, when you're doing these calls, the fact of the matter is, and I think we all nailed it on the head a long time ago, just making the calls is what you got to do. Regardless of what you say, I mean, you got to have something in your hopper that you're going to do, but just making the calls, it's a numbers game when you're dealing with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
All of it. Buyers are numbers games too.
It is, but here's the...
Everything's a numbers game. The more you call, the better off you're going to be. The more deals you're going to get.
You know, it's like, because I think there's so many different wheelhouses of thought here to go through this, and there's different strategies. I mean, I like your, the rule of reciprocation deal, but I think that's more of a, I think what I'm doing with this is more of just numbers. I want to get through 200 calls.
Yeah, to do what?
So
okay, so here I go. All right, I got it. I got it.
And I think that's like the same with Cantu.
Hold on. It's not the same with Cantu, because I know what Cantu does really well. It's not. I'm his coach, and I'm your coach, and I know the difference between the two. It's the outcome. If we stay focused, and Paul Mihalowicz is probably one of the best at that script or that idea and that company that you referenced, and he does a great job. And his team, some of his team's probably on, and he might even be on. When I asked him this very same thing, and he's in deeper to that group than anybody that I've coached in a long time, other than being coached by Craig, okay? What I'm telling you is that veterans tend to get more conversational over time, but they also know the outcome they're looking for. And what makes Paul's business good, like mine, is that we have a different concept of outcome than you do. Okay? And that outcome is that there are 3 possibilities every time we pick up the phone. Right? But we really believe that. Can you name those 3 possibilities? Because you know me and you know what we preach. So what are the 3 outcomes that you could have in a call?
Get their timing, get their motivation, book employment.
No. It's an appointment, it's a prospect, or it's trash. That's mine. I'm not saying those are relevant things, but again, what you asked me as far as that was concerned, or what you just said, timing and motivation, sure. There's no doubt about it. That will determine if it's going to be an appointment or it's going to be a prospect. So you're right in stating that those things are critical to determine. I think Tony Legendre, who might be on here too, he says it the best, where it's, I think, timing, motivation, and ability to perform, right? I really like that, because that means the buyer's ability to perform even if they want to buy, the ability of the seller to sell even if they want to sell. So I like that, timing, motivation, and ability. However, the outcome to grow a business and a book of business properly is, I would just tell you, I'm not guessing at what makes one of these businesses sustainable, because I've been trained by the best and I have a very steady business in a difficult market like yours. And it comes from, yes, when we have that outcome, we can get it right now, sure. And would we like to go through a lot more calls all at once? Yes. And are we starting to finally institute the dialer mentality to try to get that first conversation now that we have somebody dedicated? Yes. But his primary objective, as paid for and directed by me and Laura, is to get an outcome that goes into one of those 3 buckets. Because most of the money is made in this business at scale from longer-term follow-up. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Agree.
Okay. So my thought is, if you'll just also consider the outcome more clearly. Now, we can talk about it more on your one-on-one next week, but I want you guys to consider what I'm saying. The minute you think about the outcome, what you say at the beginning changes. The alternative you choose changes. So you keep thinking that the law of reciprocity doesn't have enough testosterone, Thomas, right? Okay? So I would expect that from go-getters like you. You think it doesn't have a testosterone level that's high enough. You think it's too soft. So did I. And so still do I if it's not used correctly. What I mean by that is if you get on there to lollygag in a conversation and you don't get a clear outcome, I would shoot you between the eyes or myself with a blow dart, right? It's this no good. You have to get that outcome. Hey, Tommy, it's Danny Griffin calling. I just want to let you know that I sent you out this 7-point strategy that we used because you expired, and I figured it would help you figure out what went wrong. And now you blow up on me. Yeah, you're like all the rest of them. No, I'm not like all the rest of them because I'm almost positive nobody sent you anything. Everybody's calling you up saying that you hired the wrong guy or that they have a buyer for you and all that crap. I'm only simply telling you I sent you something. And whether you read it or not is up to you. But I'm not guessing. That's the real deal I sent you. And you know what backs that up? My resume. If you want to hear about that someday, instead of yelling at me, I'll come to your house and I'll walk through. And if you still don't like me, at least I've left you with an education. So I can ramp up the edge like that if need be. But I don't abandon the law of reciprocity. Why do I like it so much? I get to use that as a hammer. Craig taught me this. The logic hammer. Hey, dum-dum, there's a strategy, and you're missing it. You want to punch me in the face? You want to hang up on me? You want to do whatever you want? Calm yourself down and listen to me. I don't care that it's your brother. Good news. I've sent you something that you and your brother can use to get the house sold. Well, why would you do that? Because I'm not giving you a listing. Great. It's my goodwill for the day, okay? Just stop beating your brother up, read the thing, and get the house sold. And when I see it's done correctly, maybe I'll have a co-broke situation where I can bring somebody over. So I really firmly believe that at the root of what I do because I like the outcome, right? Even when it's trash, let's say that's a trash situation, Tommy, I've left a solid footprint. You see what I'm saying? Even though it's an edgy, aggressive conversation, the brand gets a solid footprint. I don't end up in an argument with him. Really, most of the time, I think. You know, there are those times when I've been hung up on plenty of times, right? As soon as you start to say something. But like Paul, the more you believe, and look, if you take that same script you started with and you believe in it more, you won't sound so scripted and you'll get a result. But don't give any of this language, any of it, more credit than your ability. I was trying to bait you and Joe into being more aggressively honest with yourself and what you were saying, and so that you would be more authentic on the phone. Guys, you have a massive resume. And whether it's with a co-broke where you negotiated or whether you did it yourself, don't undersell yourself into just one piece of the strategy, right? Because on marketing, Tommy, in your 7-point strategic plan, what are you? You're good at syndication marketing through MLS because you're a good what? Negotiator. So if a co-broke comes, you're going to convince the co-broke and their buyer and negotiate a good deal for your seller. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And you're also equally as good at hustling through your open houses and your marketing to get what? A direct buyer. So you're good at both. But the minute you pigeonholed yourself into one because you didn't wrap it around a strategy, remember, the law of reciprocity here is not some like squishy gift. It's not, it's not some like happy-go-lucky, trinket. This is a strategy. I'm giving you the gift of my strategy that I used to be a top player in Wisconsin. Like, hello? Like, what do you mean you don't want it? You see what I'm saying? I think if you could get attached more to that, then I don't think it matters as much where the conversation ends up. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, comments from you and Joe, and I'll move on.
No, I think, yeah. I mean, you definitely. I think, yeah. More and more you do it, you gotta formulate, a strategy and use your statistics. Use your basically our ability and let the people know, truthfully what we can do to get that sold.
Yeah, the resume.
I mean, we might as well
Yep.
have at it. I mean, we are one of the top agents around the area.
You are.
We have people.
You are, and you have resume that you can thump down. But I wouldn't lead with it. I wouldn't lead with it. I would demonstrate. See, in this world, I think we're all kind of worn out by the braggart, right? I mean, somebody sent me something the other day. Somebody was bragging about something that they had online, and they sent me, "Can you believe this?" And I say, "I know, it's a bummer." Right? I don't think the world is conditioned to loving people that brag about things. However, if they begin to need support, then hammer it. Okay? Well, you know what, Joe? It sounds good to me, but I don't know who you are. Well, let me just tell you, I've been around this, and I'm a third-generation realtor. We also do auctions. Family's been in it that long. And this year alone, we're going to sell 230 houses. Of those, I've sold 72, whatever the number is. Bang! Drop the hammer when the hammer needs to be dropped. But lead with the gift of insight. Hey, Joe, seems like something went sideways a little bit on your house. That's why I'm calling. It expired in MLS. I'm not sure whether you knew that or not. But what I did do is send you something I think can help figure out what went wrong. Right? You can say it so many ways. You can mix the two together. Like, see, let me take it. Hey, Joe, I don't know whether it was just the wrong agent with the wrong strategy, or whether it was just you decided not to sell. But I thought either way, I'd send you over my strategy. See what I'm saying? So if I want to go there and agitate the pain about the other agent, I can say it. Tommy, I can bring in the law of reciprocity after I say it, right? So I'm saying try them all, because it's all ultimately, what do you want to do? You want to sit in front of me and tell me what, Tommy? What do you want to tell me?
I want to tell you how I can sell your home.
In 7 steps, right? Or something like that. Whatever I'm saying, whatever your listing presentation is, you're starting to give it right in this moment. And that's what I realized along the way, that we're killing ourselves to try to get in these houses to give a listing presentation. And we live in a world, and we always have, whether it was free reports back in the day or whatever, we've always had to give something away to get them to lean in and believe a little bit first, right? Now, I think that you can bring that into this moment. Some other companies don't. Other companies think that, you should be painted into a corner and you shouldn't give away anything. Well, you know what I found? That in the internet age, so much was being given away, the bar for giveaways went up. So I'm going to start to give you a presentation right now. Hey, Tommy, you know what? While I have you, I just want to let you know what's in that 7 points, since you're willing to talk a little bit more. I have a 7-step strategy that's universal. All agents go through it, but they don't necessarily put the information in the right order. So what you're going to get is a booklet and an infographic that walks you through step by step, from pricing to condition to staging. All those 3 things have to happen first before we start the marketing. And in marketing, we do both syndicated marketing and push marketing, which is what at the O'Connor Group we do well. And then it's all that market-making communication, back and forth with co-brokes, open house, feedback. So if there's adjustments to be made, we can make them. And then ultimately, we're pros at negotiating. I've already sold 51 houses this year, so we get them done. And then we have a team that crosses the T's and dots the I's, so that once it's under agreement, we don't lose the deal. So if I can get in the house and see the actual product, I can walk through that very strategy and figure out which one of those things, if any of them, needs some tweaking. So you see what I've done, Tommy? I've been aggressive still, like you want me to be. But I have this gift that he's going to get that is really what? What is it? It's a pre-listing package. So don't think of it so squishy. It's a pre-listing package that discusses and warms them up to what we want. So even if they hang up on me, Laura and David asked me the other day, well, what do you do with hang-ups? Call them back. Wait for the package to arrive. They hung up on you. Say, hey, listen, last week we called, and I know you were probably getting 35 calls from agents. We just want to make sure you got our strategy in the mail. Right? That's all. We just want to make sure it's there. Because now maybe the emotional reaction to hanging up on realtors is gone. Maybe that emotional heartbeat has gone down, and now I'm back into logic. So I say keep going until you can get a beat. Whoa, before you hang up on me, I just want to see, did you get the thing I sent you? Right? Now they're curious. Hey, listen, it's Danny. Don't hang up on me. I just want to see if you got that thing. Boom. Just like Paul does, quickly. But that's authentic and that's real. Speak from the heart and then follow the generality of that script, and I think you'll be there. Now, there are some specifics in the script that are triggers. You'll have to choose. Do you want to say I'm calling you because? Or when are you going to hire the right agent? Those are all triggers, Tommy. All of them that agitate the pain.
Yep.
Right? But my bigger concern here is that we're getting lost about what it is that we want to give them. Even if you don't tell them over the phone, I'm okay. But you got to give me some idea of what it is that you're going to give me when you get in the house. I need to see the value of having you over, right? Instead of feeling like you're painting me in the corner, I'm a high D, you're a high D, as you can see from the beginning of the call, nobody was listening to each other. Now we're in a rhythm. See, because once it calms down, everybody listens, especially if it's important to them. So you've got to be able to quickly articulate the value of the meeting. So let me try one more time with you. Tommy, why should I have you over? Just tell me what you're going to discuss when you come over and why it's valuable to me.
Well, Danny, I'm glad you asked. Basically what I do here and what I do to get your home sold is to go through a 7-point strategy to get this home sold. And I'm talking, starting out with just going through a CMA that I'll put together for you, a comparative market analysis, to make sure that we got that right price and that your home is valued the highest and we can net you the most money. Number 2, we're going to go over marketing, we're going to go over staging, we're going to go over conditioning of your home. Those are the key things to make sure that we get you the most value. And then 3, I'd like to talk to you about our team here, our closing coordinator, our listing coordinator, and how I can negotiate for you to get the most money. That's something you'd be interested in.
Yes, for sure. Finally, you got to me. Yes. You know why? I thought you were going to go into that corny script voice again in the beginning, and then you became Tommy O'Connor. That's all I wanted the whole time. Because the real Tommy O'Connor was very clear on what he wanted to help me with, wasn't he? Yeah? No? Did we lose those guys?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you hearing me?
Anybody out there? Anybody can agree?
Am I right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you get lost?
Yeah.
I was complimenting you.
Oh, no, yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Do you hear what I said, Joe? Was there a difference in his voice just now from the beginning of the call? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, come on, man. Come on, throw me a bone. Throw me some enthusiasm. Was it or not?
Sorry.
Was it or not?
It was.
Okay, because you're talking to me like a robot when you were reading the script in the beginning. I don't even know who that was, and I know you. I've had a few beers with you, buddy. That wasn't you. Don't talk to me or them like that. Be authentic. And the minute you don't believe what you're reading thoroughly, and it's not really what you do, why are you doing it? That's my point in this entire call. Why are you doing that? Because the guy at the end was clear. It was his voice. And I said yes, easily. There was no resistance. I could not resist the authentic, true professional that you are. I could not. And if you squeeze him out, you'll have challenges.
Yeah.
All right, let me hear from the rest of you.
All right.
Let me hear from the rest of you.
This is Heather. This is Heather. I thought that was an awesome. I thought that was awesome what you just did, and coming back that sounded. I've had a few beers with you too, and I totally agree. That was way better. Way better. And it was really clear. It was nice and fast. It was clear, and you had a path. And I thought it was way better than the first try. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to comment on this? Because we spent a lot of time. I'll go a little bonus time here today, I promise, because I just thought this was so important with these guys. I really, really think this is a critical conversation in sales. And in the context of their business, I've worked with Jerry a long time. I've known the boys for a long time. I've basically seen them grow up in the business. And that's not a good sign for me, because that's how old Jerry and I are. So, but the point is, these guys are a legacy business, and they've always been a machine. These guys are freaking machines at the buy side of the business, and they get a ton of listings, but we're trying to get more intentional about listings. Tommy also is really good from a money standpoint because he's really a thinker about strategy. So lots of compliments here today too. But this is one of those moments where I want people to think. I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I'm trying to provoke thought, and I'm looking for authentic voice that's effective. Let me repeat that. I'm looking for you all to find your authentic voice that's effective. So in other words, these guys are right. The more calls you make, the more relaxed you become, the more authentic you sound, and the more you learn by what people react to and what they don't. And you find your lane that's effective, because what matters is the outcome. I would argue, please remember, this business is predicated around the creation, getting rid of people where there is definitely no opportunity. Don't keep pursuing Lazarus and trying to raise him from the dead. It doesn't work in business as a good plan. Prospects do. If you want to read Jeb Blount's book or listen to the audiobook, Fanatical Prospecting, he and I, even though we don't know each other, I'm on the same page that he is with the concept of prospecting. So when you make these calls, most of you that make a lot of them are creating massive amounts of potential follow-up that will become, now listen to me say this, if you create prospects on calls like this and you follow up with them over a long period of time, those people become, to a great extent, Timmy Kerrigan, competition less. The more I'm in if I have to jump in the octagon against 30 other agents calling expireds, that's the hardest fight I have to fight. But most of the time, we all know we're going to create a prospect more likely than an appointment. This is the fact of life. You'll get plenty of appointments, but you're more likely to create a prospect, which is the bloodline of the business. Now you've gotten somebody who says, thank you for sending me something. I'm just not ready. I'm a little burnt out. Great. And you put them into a follow-up system that's impeccable, that does not forget them. And you're the only one after the first 35 calls. Then that drops to 10. Then it drops to 5 on the third call. And then it's only you. Now all of a sudden down the line, only you are following up and they have your strategy. You have a competition-less vacuum, right? That's the whole point of the TRC model, is to make sure you understand that that's a really critical component. If you get appointments and you get them at a rapid rate from that first call, brilliant. You are doing something really well. Keep doing it. Keep trying to make it a little bit better on these calls, but don't stop it. All right. The girls, gals, ladies in New Jersey, you're on the phone call. I had to mute a few mics earlier. Anita has asked me to deal with a couple of challenges you have. So, Lorraine, are you out there? Or who do I have from Anita's team on the phone? Hello, check, check, New Jersey. Hello. You have to unmute your microphone. In New Jersey, whoever that is. Somebody from Anita Tarapor's team? Okay, anyway, what I would say is Anita called me up and she wanted me to speak to this, which I think is important. That's why I want to go a little bonus time here today. A lot of expireds or old leads happen. So a lot of you have a database loaded with old leads, or you're calling an expired from a year ago or whatever, and you get a little bit worried about thinking that there's nothing in there. And it's quite the contrary. And the irony is, since we're talking about expireds today, a lot of the time with expireds, they don't relist right away. If you've ever pursued them, or probates for that matter, they don't list right away while they're sorting things out or trying to get their whole perspective back. So there's time that goes by where they're incubating and most people aren't following up with them. But the fear to pick up the phone and call them as if they're more challenging, I can make an argument they're not. And Anita had a good pragmatic approach to this. Pick up the phone. If they've already bought or sold, great. There's your trash. Done. You complete it that quickly. And if not, guess what's not happening? Not many other people are talking to them. We just identified that. So going back into your database and looking at all these cold leads and going, I would take those leads like Lee Stillwell did, like Paul did, and Patrick, throw them into a dialer if you have one, or throw them into your queue and just start pounding on that, because that's a great place to start to learn that there are people that just don't take quick action. Okay, so I wanted to deal with that for Nida. Unfortunately, I'm not hearing it from anybody on her team to speak up, so I can't deal with it specifically.
I got to run. I got a client coming in here.
Go ahead, buddy. Thanks for being on the hot seat, guys.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job. All right, I told you I'll give you a couple. I'll give you 10 minutes extra here into the bonus time because it took me a long time to sort that out with those guys. Give me some thoughts about what I went through with them, or give me the next challenge, please.
Some thoughts about expired calls, or just
Well, just in general, and just in general,
strategy?
yeah, just in general about that philosophy, whether it be inside or out.
Yeah, I mean, I think authenticity is the key, no matter what your strategy is, and that's something that I've been working a lot with our two ISAs who are on the call. I've got Sam and I've got Valerie, who's brand new. She's been with us since Monday, and it's just especially with new ISAs now. There's probably a lot of newer ISAs on the call, and it's you got to start with the script so that you know kind of what your message is, but the goal is to kind of transcend that and take those ideas and those questions and focus more on what information you want, and just sort of the ultimate goal is to have a really casual, normal sounding conversation with another human being rather than reading off of a piece of paper to somebody on the phone. I completely agree with kind of the ultimate outcome of the first 45 minutes of this call, which is really just be yourself and know what you're offering and be confident in what you're offering.
Yeah, and realistic, I love what you said. Boy, have you really, over the years, have you really understood this business at a high level. Cheers to you for that explanation. That was perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent work. I think I think you're absolutely right. If we've got a rookie on here or somebody who's newer that was intimidated by the intensity, see, those guys are longtime clients of mine, and all four of us, the three of them and me, we all come at working and coaching on this with a lot of testosterone. But as you can see, as time goes on, after we get that out of the way, we find this gentle flow that is just there. But one of the most dangerous things is a closed mind. And so we have to understand what actually works. And the way to open your mind is to say, ultimately, if I have a belief system that I'm latched onto like a pit bull, that's fine if it's effective. But even when it's effective, you have to always change it, because there's a concept that Michael Gerber puts forward in his book, The E-Myth, is that we're always contracting or we're expanding, one or the other. You're not standing still. You're doing one or the other. And so always working on it to see what works. It's like a split test of an ad. You would split test right down to little trigger words that you could work in. But what we all know the truth about inside and outside sales is that there's another human being on the other side that's not on these training calls. They don't know what we're training on. They don't care what we're training on. We come into their homes, we get on the phone with them, and we say something to them, and they're not sitting here, and they're not going to behave like they're supposed to behave, quote unquote, so that they play right into that scripted plan. So the real important thing is
that's
what...
really where
right.
That's where the script kills you too.
Correct.
Because a lot of these sales calls, it's like a fight. You can in your head, you think you're going to win, and you know exactly how it's going to go. But then they say something that you weren't prepared for, and if your mind is stuck in that script mentality, your script isn't going to help you anymore. And so that's when internalizing the idea of the script. I know that sounds kind of weird, but internalizing what you're saying and what you're offering and what you want from them on
believing it.
Yeah, go ahead, Grant. Go ahead, Grant. Say it.
Fine.
Grant, say it.
Yeah, and I said believing what, and that's what you're saying as well, Patrick. Believing what you're saying, internalizing that, and being authentic. Our angle is, angle's a bad word. We just want to talk to them and set some kind of appointment or meeting. Let's call it a meeting, because we're not selling it. None of us are selling anything over the phone, except maybe ourselves, and an opportunity to meet, to show you how we feel about our business and how we can help you achieve your goal, buying or selling.
Right.
And making them feel that.
Correct. Well, what did we do yesterday in the mastermind call? It was as intense a mastermind call as we had. And Dean Miller, who's in the middle of revamping his, said, I'm going to start from a new beginning that's much more educated. And so one of the things that I would argue for, I loved what you both said. So let me pull it together in the second part. I think in the beginning, even in the opening call for a veteran, Paul's scripted, Danny's scripted, Grant's scripted. We're scripted because that's the most important spot to be scripted, even though it feels natural. Hey, Patrick, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. That's a script. You got to let them know who you are. Now you got to let them know why. I'm calling you because I see that you expired, because you're selling your house yourself, because you're the administrator on an estate, because you came into our website. That's all we have to do. Those are two scripted beats that are very clear. Your introduction, here's who I am, and here's why I'm calling. And the operative word there is because. It's a trigger word, right? So we're going to cheat towards those things that we know trigger a listen. Why are you calling me? Because why is it because? Let's think about the word because. Why does it trigger? I think it's because most people do want to know what's in it for them. And when you say I'm calling because, they lean in. They lean in. Maybe I won something, right? Or maybe there's something in it that I want. I believe that's a key trigger word right there. So no matter what you're saying, I wouldn't lose that word somewhere in there, no matter how you open up. And then, because I know you. I know who you are, and I know what you're up to, and I have some insight, some help. And I now, what Grant said, I really believe what I have for you is super important to you. Now, you might lump me in with everybody else that tried to call, but I'm saying something different. So my pattern interrupt is not necessarily to agitate you and agitate your pain heavily. I'm going to, a byproduct of me giving you this thing is probably going to remind you of what you're trying to do that's painful. Hey, you're trying to sell your house by yourself. Awesome. Knock yourself silly. It's a really difficult endeavor. So I'm going to give you a gift because it will make your life easier. It's my strategy that I use with my sellers. All I ask in return is that if you have a buyer that doesn't like it, you want to send them to me, or you decide to interview agents, I'd love that in return. There's the law of reciprocity, and I'm aggressive in asking for it. So who I am, why I'm calling with the trigger word because, and then trying to just let them engage. Now, engagement in human conversation takes us off into the poppy fields with Dorothy, as I like to say. And that's where most people sound, like Patrick said so perfectly. If you get into that conversational stage, after that scripted stage, where it goes freeform, let's call it freeform, right? It's the wild horse moment. You can sound conversational without getting lost for where you want to land, right? In other words, you want an outcome. I can't talk to you all day, Grant, because I got to get an outcome. I got to have an appointment, a prospect, or a trash, and I got to get there. So I appreciate you telling me our kids go to the same school. However, I just want to let you know, I've got this 7-point strategy that I think can help you, and I sent it to you, okay? Are you motivated to relist this house now or later? Because if it's now, what I could do is I'll just follow that free report. I'll come there and I'll walk you through it now. No, I'm not quite ready for that. Great. Why don't you do this? Get it, read it, and I'm also going to up that. I'm going to give you another gift. I come to think of it, I'd like to send you over some stuff that's sold around you while you're on the market. What's the best email? Wink, wink. Capture an email that I don't have, right? And if they still reject it, say, well, there's nothing you can do about the gift I sent you. That's already in the mail. It's on its way. Enjoy it. I'll follow up just to make sure you got it, right? Now, if there's a further rejection, what do I know I've done? Everything that I can. They tell me, nope, Danny, I'm never going to do something with you. I'm not interested in the information. Don't bother me again. It would have to be that dramatic to get there. But I'm still following this thing. I still have this buoy that I can hang on to, Grant and Patrick. I don't drown. And that buoy is that strategy that I sent them. That makes sense?
Yep.
So the buoy is the strategy and the insight around it. And the other buoy is my outcome. So I don't get lost in why I'm here. Oh my gosh, I was so scripted so well in the beginning, and he was responding to me. And then he started to tell me about this, and he said something that threw me off. Well, just swim to the buoy. Hey, by the way, I just want to get back on track for a second and tell you about that thing I sent you. It's 7 points, it's this, it's that. Would there be an opportunity for me to follow up with you, right? That's it. So let's leave the call with this. I have this introduction. Here's who I am, and I'm interrupting your life because you're this, and I have this thing that I really believe will help you. Stop, and let's see what comes of the conversation. And then get back to what that thing is you're giving them, why it would benefit them even more to upsell. In other words, to give them more information and to get in the house, to talk to them, to show them properties, a few of their favorites, whatever the context is, buyer or seller. Keep upselling the value of what you can give away for free so that you can get what? Face-to-face. Because that's the number one outcome you're all after. You want to get more face-to-face appointments with buyers and sellers. So if you can get it as you're upselling the insight and the information, get it. If you can't, the next greatest and most important thing, which happens a lot, create a prospect that you can follow up with until there's no competition anymore and you're in a vacuum of competition, less buyers and sellers. That really happens. And then ultimately, if you're really sure there's no opportunity, because you won't get off that phone without coming to either an appointment or prospect, then it's trash for your business. And that can hurt you. So you got to get them out of your database and move them on, right? And don't make an excuse, well, they're just getting emails. If they're not going to engage your emails, guess what it does to your open rate? It hurts it. Guess what it does to your deliverability according to Infusionsoft? It hurts it. I've been promoting this concept all along. Stay connected to the outcome and understand why that brings you all the way to the beginning of a conversation, whether it's inside or out. By the way, it's the same conversation. Inside sales, you better be connected to the fact that this is just a deeper, more personal version of what you're saying when the OSA gets in the house, okay? And we'll pick that up next week where we go a little bit deeper on the inside. And I'd like to hear more from outside sales agents, even though that's what I had on the call today. You see how it all connects, all right? Good work, everybody. Go practice this stuff out there. And I appreciate the participation, especially to the O'Connors who sat in the hot seat. And it was hot. See you next week. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you guys online. Thanks for being here.